In this, we're going to be creating a clothing brand. Now, 4 years ago, I walked away from a brand I helped build, felt betrayed, belittled, but I stood firm in my choice. So now I'm starting over, and I'm going to be doing it all on my own and sharing the whole process. I wanted to return to this because it is a passion of mine. I spent like years doing this other venture, for it all just to crumble. But it was a learning process, and I'm going to be recording all the steps I take, the ideas that come to life, and going to be going through all my questions, all my insecurities, fumbles, successes, and reaching goals with this brand. Now, I'm going to start with day one. I'm going to be going over finding a name, purchasing a domain, and setting up social media, market research, figuring out my customer profile, and researching competitors. And then going to define the story, the identity of the brand, and I do get to an initial logo idea, and that's actually where it all started. So I think that's where we'll go. We'll go from my art piece, which sparked the naming convention. Initially, I started off with this art piece that I made. It's this smiley scorch mark, and I thought it had a good vibe. It's been my profile picture on my art account for ages, so I said, give me some name suggestions for the clothing brand. And you're not going to take everything from this, of course. It's just brainstorm. This is the best way to brainstorm. Give me a bunch. I said, no, I don't really want any of these. And I kept going. And I tried to say uplifting. Hardcore would be good for vibes, but marketed towards more metal rock streetwear. So I'm trying to refine it, trying to give my niche and who it's focused for in relation to the image. And this matches with me because I enjoy those things. I want people that enjoy the same music as I to enjoy these clothes. And then again, more options. It goes on, and then I landed on the name, which, where did it go? It's tucked away in here somewhere. Crisis Casual. Okay, yeah. So there it is. The mental and emotional states. Give me more names of a similar realm. I don't know exactly how far up or down this was. This was a good couple edits. Oh, it was just before that, niching down a bit more. Before I fully chose Crisis Casual, I wanted to see what was successful, if I should actually go with this name. So I searched, give me some of the names of the most successful clothing brands and analyzed them for commonalities. Like, what are they doing? And it gave me some of the best clothing brands. It's not in the same niche per se, but they're successful. Some are streetwear, like Stussy, Bathing Ape, were Supreme, and I looked at these like single word, two words, it's a name, and most of them are pretty simple, something that's memorable that sticks in your head. Now, it gave a bit more of like a dive into it: memorability, simplicity, emotional conceptual power, founder legacy persona, juxtaposition ambiguity, and so on and so on. And what I chose to go for was playing off of emotional or conceptual power, and felt Crisis Casual matched the emotional and conceptual power of my personal self and what I could market. Then, once I was feeling confident with Crisis Casual, I felt a vibe with it. I matched up. I was like, cool, this sounds lovely. I want to go with it. I need to make sure that nobody else had it, because there was another name, the Dead Happy, that I looked up before. I was like, oh, that sounds sick. When I searched it up, like I did here, is there a clothing brand or apparel brand named Dead Happy? There was already one named dead happy. Now, Crisis Casual, same thing, but there's no brands. It says there appears there's no established clothing brand. So boom, safe to go ahead. Once I got the name settled, found there was nobody on there that had it, went to Namecheap and typed Crisis Casual in there, see if it was actually purchased or not. And it is taken now because I purchased it, but might go for a shop one later. Apparently, .shop converts really well from what I've been seeing, but I feel comfortable within the .com at the moment. I need to sort out exactly what I'm going to be doing with the site, if it's just going to be clothes purely, or if it's going to be additional items or blog, etc. I'm still figuring all of that out, but things change over time. But got that, purchased it, and it's mine, safe and sound. Developing my brand story. Now, the next step that I went for was going and checking with ChatGPT to show me influencers and top brands that are using metal, rock, streetwear, skater niche area. So I could check them out, look what they're wearing, see what the style is, see how it matches with the feel and direction I would want to go in. And it gave me a good amount of options here. And there was some good research seeing what they're producing. And then it gave me influencers, and influencers showing what they're wearing was very influential in terms of seeing what the masses are going to be pushed for. And then it went through influential all alt metal streetwear brands. And again, wonderful start. The secondary aspect that I wanted to look into was if there are any apparel brands that also sell art pieces, because my background is in graphic design, fine art, and I'm an art teacher as well. And I create constantly. Now, putting artwork onto clothes, creating something fashionable, that is art in itself. But is there a wider breathing room that I could access through selling my own personal prints, which will inevitably and already do match with the feel of the brand that I'm going for? And found that there were quite a few, and one that was quite interesting to see was Shepard Fairey and Obey Clothing, because I just showed one of my art classes a video about Banksy, and Shepard Fairey was doing his work in that film, which was a fun little callback for me. And then it gave some strategies about why art would be beneficial. So I felt comfortable that I could additionally move into that. It's kind of more of a way to make me feel a bit more comfortable and solidified within my feelings moving forward. In this large section here, I copied all of this from my Notion planner, and that's why there's hashtags and asterisks, etc. And this goes over the visual identity, the name, logo, primary colors, typography, brand messaging is blank, brand pillars are blank, emotional duality. So going through the basis of what the actual brand is going to be expressing. And it gave me a rework of that typed back up with the brand kit finalization, art and apparel product strategy, which I don't know how closely I'm going to follow this. I'm going to experiment with initially print on demand with tab stitch, I'm thinking, because they have what it seems like high quality, higher GSM clothing, different cuts that fit the market, and a very large print area, so I'll have more flexibility in printing, at least initial days and starting this. But again, everything can change. And then I went into going to the brand meaning and trying to nail down what is the market, who are we talking to, what do I appreciate, what do they appreciate, and what is the messaging of this. Now, Crisis Casual is within the metal, grunge, alt streetwear market, and it's about people that feel deeply but don't perform it for show, love distortion, rawness, imperfection. They want to express duality, strength and struggle, beauty and grit, are into fashion that feels authentic, not polished. This is just going to be my art on there. It's going to be structured, but it's going to feel rough. And then it gave me taglines, which I liked. This one, you earn your silhouette. A lot of them I feel are a bit corny, and I'm going to have to develop some of my own outside of this because I don't think that this is it's a good starting point. And as I continued down, it gave me ideas for how to use this imagery of skulls, chains, barbed wire, angels, demons, the stuff that I like using. It kind of spat it back out to me, but it's good to have everything in a base. And then I put all that in my Notion planner, and now I'm going to work at creating a mood board for the next video. Then after I said, like, I wanted all this dark kind of imagery and things that are talking about the duality, I asked if it could help me write a brand story paragraph. And it did. I liked parts of it. And then I asked it to give me another one, and giving points of saying accept chaos and the crisis that we experience in the world and help navigate through these actions. Modified it. Then I took both pieces, both full paragraphs, and said, can you blend them together? Because I liked parts of them, and I wanted to see what it would blend together as. And it gave me this. I like it for the majority, but I'm going to have to retype it up and put my own voice in there a bit more. But it gave a solid beginning point that I can modify, and it captured my ideas because, as I'm saying, it's about the repetition and the drilling down. You can tweak it and communicate with the ChatGPT. So, and then I started to get a bit insecure, and I was questioning, like, hey, is this just an outlet or a piece of me that is too emotionally charged after, like, a recent breakup? And I was feeling like, am I just doing this because my emotions are taking hold of me, or does all my thought process and interaction with it make sense for a wider audience? And since I didn't have anybody other than my friend to talk to, I was kind of bouncing back in this. I asked, does all this sound proper? And gave me a little bit of a confirmation, so I eased myself out of that. I was like, no, there's wider things. It's not just this one moment, but that can play into it because that is a life experience. Once I got to that point, I started drilling down even further into the market competitors and getting a visual reference for them. So I looked up what types of clothes are in this realm, and I looked at the key competitors that are producing in this realm. I got all their websites, looked at their brand stories and their background, their history, how they're marketing to people. Now I can compare these, write them down, and edit my large brand story paragraph. And the last section that I dove into for this day was logo exploration. I'm jumping the gun here a bit, but I was so excited to try and realize this logo and connect name and identity and style to it that I just jumped into it. I'm just going to go over the basics of it, but I looked up 12 different streetwear, metalcore clothing brands. I tried to figure out what do they do in their logos, why are they successful, and what are they doing here? And then spat out a bunch. I got a good initial overview of how they are working and what they do, the scalability, the printing of it, the brand recognition. So talking about how gradients can be expensive, inconsistent for screen printing. So I got a very good base overline. And I'm not going to go any deeper into this. I want to have a separate video for when I'm doing my full logo breakdown and creation and mood board and typefaces, color palettes. I want to dive into that as a video because that is a lot of content in itself, and I don't want to skip through anything. So I'll leave you with this, which is the logo, and you can let me know if you're feeling anything about it. There's some things I want to change, but we'll get into that next time.